I'm dating an extremely jealous man. At first, it almost seemed sweet, the way he wanted to know everything, to make sure no one got too close to me. But very quickly, that jealousy became suffocating. Even when I go to the market, he calls me non-stop, worrying about trivial details. Who looked at me? Why did that vendor smile? Why are you talking to that lady? I feel his burning gaze on my back, even from a distance. His messages flood my phone, dozens of them. Sometimes calls where he demands I answer immediately, justify every move. I love him, but sometimes this possessiveness makes me doubt myself, him, what we are. And yet, when I try to talk calmly, he gets aggressive, even threatening. It's like behind his love hides a huge fear, a fear of losing me, or worse, of sharing me. I find myself avoiding certain places, changing my plans, just to avoid his outbursts. I've lost the freedom that seems so natural, so simple. This relationship is slowly consuming me, but I don't yet know what I'm going to do. I'm only at the start of a story where jealousy could destroy everything, or change everything. Jealousy has become an invisible wall between us. Every time I go out, I feel this heavy weight on my shoulders, this constant pressure to justify every little move. One evening, when I came home late from work, he called me 20 times in an hour. When I answered, his voice was trembling, a mix of anger and fear. Where are you? Why aren't you answering? I explained I was delayed, nothing more. But he didn't want to hear it. He was yelling on the phone, accusing imaginary men. I felt humiliated, like a prisoner in my own life. I started avoiding his calls, answering less. But that only made things worse. He accused me of silence, called me a liar. Fear overwhelmed me. Fear he would explode. Fear he wouldn't let me breathe. I thought of my friends, their free lives. Why do I have to suffer this? But love still held me back. This anger, this obsessive jealousy, was to him a sign of love. One day, I caught a scene that chilled me. He was looking through my phone without permission, scanning my messages, my calls. That moment made me realize it wasn't just jealousy. It was control. A control that could destroy everything. That control began to take over our relationship. He rummaged through my things, read my texts, tracked my every move. I felt like a thief of freedom. I wanted to trust him, but fear of his reactions paralyzed me. Every outing was a trial. Every man's glance on the street, a potential threat. One evening, he refused to let me go to a party with colleagues. You have no business there. I won't leave you alone with them, he said with a tone that brooked no argument. I gave in, suffocated, frustrated. It was like losing a piece of myself. Yet alongside that, he could be tender, gentle, charming. That paradox held me. This dangerous game between love and control. I found myself hoping it would get better. That jealousy would turn into trust. But the signs were there. More frequent, heavier. One day, I saw he had installed an app to track my whereabouts. I confronted this secret with anger. His response was a mix of excuses and blame. It's to protect you, not to lose you. That phrase, repeated 1,000 times, sounded like an invisible prison. That prison was mental too. I started doubting myself. Was I the cause of all this? If I were less talkative, less smiling, less attractive? These questions tormented me, hollowed a void inside me. I tried to keep secrets, small things, just to breathe a little, but the truth always came out. And then the storm broke. He threw tantrums, wild accusations. Why are you talking to that man? Do you still love me? His voice was a mix of anger, pain, and jealousy. Those moments broke me. I even canceled appointments with family, friends. I locked myself in bitter silence. This relationship had become a weight I carried without knowing how to free myself. Yet I still loved him. That was the worst. One day, I found a notebook, hidden in his drawer. A notebook where he wrote every detail, every interaction, every fear. It was like a diary of his jealousy, an obsession that was eating him up. That discovery shook me. That notebook changed my perspective. Behind his jealousy, I saw deep suffering. Maybe a wound from a difficult past, an old betrayal. I wanted to help him, to show him we could live differently. But how? I tried talking, calmly, explaining that his behavior was destroying me. He cried. Yes, cried like a child. That unexpected fragility touched me. For a moment, I believed change was possible. But the following days, old habits returned. The vicious cycle started again. Anger, accusations, endless calls. I felt trapped, stuck between my love for him and my need for freedom. I started looking for answers, advice, books about jealousy, testimonies. I understood it wasn't fate, that I could set boundaries. But I was afraid to lose someone I loved. One evening, he came to my place without warning. I had gone to see a friend. When he knocked, furious I hadn't contacted him. This brutal intrusion was a wake-up call. That night, I realized things had gone too far. His need for control had crossed a dangerous line. I was no longer a partner, but a captive. I decided to set limits. Gently, timidly, I told him I wouldn't tolerate endless calls, accusations, snooping in my phone. At first, he denied it, then promised to change. I wanted to believe, but the fear remained. The following weeks, he made efforts. Fewer calls, more respect, but I felt anger simmering beneath the surface. One day, he became cold, distant, as if he was holding himself back. That jealousy, that fear, was like a beast not easily tamed. One evening, at dinner, a man complimented my outfit. He saw it and exploded. A public scene, violent, humiliating. I felt broken. After that, I understood I couldn't change someone who doesn't want to change himself. That realization was painful. I began to consider leaving, to regain my freedom, even if it meant losing the man I loved. That paradox tore me apart. I spoke to my loved ones, timidly at first. Their support gave me courage. I understood love shouldn't hurt. That jealousy isn't proof of love, but of fear and lack of trust. I looked for a professional, a therapist, to help me see clearly. Talking to someone outside helped. I realized I wasn't responsible for his fears, but he had to face them alone. I spoke to him, one last time, about my need for respect, space. But he couldn't hear. He blamed me for not loving him anymore. That silent break marked a turning point. The day I told him I wanted to take a step back, he exploded. Tears, screams, promises. But I was determined. I wanted to live for myself, to breathe again. I moved temporarily to a friend's place. That regained freedom brought me color back. I reconnected with friends, family. But the pain remained. The missing too. That toxic relationship left deep marks. I started rebuilding my life, slowly. Reconnecting with myself. With my desires, my passions. One day he sent me a message. Short, but sincere. He really wanted to change. That glimmer of hope unsettled me. Could it be possible? Could he really change? I agreed to meet, under conditions. Talk, listen, understand. He told me about his past, his wounds. A childhood marked by abandonment, love poorly learned. I saw a vulnerable man behind destructive jealousy. We talked a long time, without accusations, honestly. But I knew trust isn't rebuilt in a day. We decided to try couples therapy. A difficult path, full of obstacles, but also small progress. He learned to recognize his fears without letting them control his actions. I learned to express my needs without fear of triggering anger. Sometimes the past came back like a storm, but we moved forward. This tumultuous love story had become a joint struggle to heal. Over time, his jealousy transformed. From anger, it became caution, then trust. I'm not saying everything was perfect. The scars remain, but we learned to accept them, not to let them destroy us. I regained my freedom without giving him up. Today, we are stronger. Our love has changed, grown. There are no more invisible chains, only deep respect. This story could have been a tragedy, but it became a testimony of resilience, of forgiveness. I know love can be complicated, sometimes painful, but when it's true, it's worth fighting for.